Hello my friends and welcome to another video from Trust. Today I'm going to be teaching you React Router DOM version 6, and I'm going to be covering like say 90% of what you're going to use when you're working with React Router DOM building React projects. Alright, so but before we get started, I have a gift for you. So one of the things I've noticed is that when newbies or beginners start to learn React, they are not sure exactly what they need to know to be confident enough to start applying for jobs. So what I did is I've created a React roadmap, and it's just a PDF file that you can open on your mobile phone and track your progress as you learn React. So I'm giving you this roadmap for free. All right, I'm not charging you for the roadmap or anything like that. So all you just need to do is check the link in the description. I've left a link there where you'll be able to get access to the roadmap, and you'll be able to track the things you need to learn to be able to get confidence in React and start applying for jobs. So all the list of important topics and concepts are listed there in the roadmap. All right, so if you really want to say thank you to me for making this available to everybody on YouTube for free, then just subscribe to this channel if you're not subscribed. Leave a like on and comment on this video, and if you also like to get more interesting content on React and front-end development in general, you can click the bell icon to turn on the notification so that when I post new videos, you're going to get them. All right, thank you so much. And one more thing, I have a premium React course that you can take advantage of. If you want to get into some advanced concept of React, then you should definitely check out the course. But there's something interesting because I actually have a discount for you today, and that discount is going to be off in a few days. So if you want to take advantage of that, take advantage of it right away. I'm going to be leaving a $10 link in the description, just $10, and you're going to have access to my premium React course that takes you from the beginner to the advanced stages. Make sure to check out the link. Even if you don't intend to purchase it, just check out the link to see what the page contains. All right, let's get into the video. All right, welcome back guys. Now so far we've been building applications on a single page, right? And right now what we're going to do is we're going to introduce routing into the project such that it will give your application or your website a feel like it has multiple pages. So right now I'm on the home page, and if I click on about, you see that it changes to the about page. But the good thing about this is that it does not actually refresh the page. So that's one of the things that makes React incredibly fast. So it goes to another page in quotes without having to refresh the page. All right, so that enables us to break our application into different aspects. So I'll go to the blog page right now, and as you can see, we have this blog here, right? Now let me click on read more on the first blog post. I'll click on read more, and you see here it takes us to the content of the blog. So you see here we have the author name, the content of the blog, which is some dummy text, and then we can go back to blogs, and then let's read the second blog. And as you can see here, the same thing happens. So this one, the author is different, John Wick, and then I'll go back and I'll read the third blog, and you see different author, John Sam, different title, third blog post. All right, so that's a little bit about what we're going to learn in this project. Also, we have the functionality to enable the active link. So right now the blog is active, that's why you see this underline here, right? If I click here, you see that it has moved to the about page. So in routing, in React routing, we have the functionality to know which page is currently active, right? So that's some of the things we're going to learn in this section. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video. All right, so we now have a fresh project React router that we installed, and you're going to find an attached file where you can just download this project and then run npm install to be on the same page with me. All right, great. So in the project, I have this inside my components folder. I have this router folder that has some components inside of it. So I have some about, blog details, data, data.js that contains some data. Let me just show you what it contains. So just some simple data. Then I have the home component, info component, and the notFound component. All right, so basically nothing much, just plain JSX on all of these components. So I would attach a file that you can download on zip and then install so that we can be on the same page. Great. So now how are we going to implement router in our React project? So there is a package called React Router, and this package is so common that you may actually think that it was built by the core React team, but it's actually an external library that we have to install in our project, right? So let me, and they're currently in version 6, right? So version 6 is what I'm going to be using in this course or in this tutorial. Now you can go ahead and read the docs if you want to see, if you want to read by yourself some of the things that I'm going to now go ahead and teach. But you see that it's a very common package. The big guys, the fan companies are all using it, right, in their projects. All right, great. So how are we going to install this package though? So I think I'm going to actually read the docs to at least show you how, you know, the instructions to install the package. So let's say installation. So I'll just click on installation here, and we're going to see, want to install for npm. So for npm, all we just need to do is to say npm install React Router DOM, and then this at 6 is simply specifying the version we want to install. Now let me actually state that React Router DOM version 5 is actually very common. Like if you do a quick search on the internet, you're going to find a lot of tutorials on React Router version 5, right? But currently what is installed is version 6. So that's why I'm going to be, you know, teaching you with version 6. It's very easy for you to actually just go back to version 5 if you maybe have a project. If you encounter a project where React Router version 5 was used, it's very easy for you to just come to the docs here and see, you know, the changes between version 5 and version 6, but they are not very like many changes. Okay, there are some breaking changes, but there are not so many of them, so you can easily just, you know, grab the knowledge you need to work with version 5. All right, great. So now let's go ahead and install React Router DOM. Okay, so I would minimize this guy, and then I'll come to my code editor here, and then I'll say npm. Oh, okay, so I already have it running, so I need to open a new terminal if I want to install something. So let me open a new terminal by clicking on that plus icon, and then I'm just going to say, all right, so I'll just say npm, and then I'll say install. So I'll just say and I'll say react router DOM. All right, so npm install React Router DOM. Now I don't need to say at 6 because currently the default install for React Router DOM is actually version 6. So all I need to do is say npm install React Router DOM. If you want to install version 5 in a project, then you need to say at 5. So but then I'll go ahead and install the latest version. I'll just hit enter, and then it will install that on my setup. So I'll just give it a few seconds to install. So it's currently installing. All right, so the installation is complete. And how do you know it has been installed? Well, you can just click on your package.json file. So I'll click there, and here you will now see we now have React Router DOM, and this is the version 6.2.2. all right, so we have React Router DOM installed in our project, right? So in the next one, we are now going to start setting up and seeing how it works and introducing routing into our project. All right, I'll see you in the next one then. All right, so now let's go ahead and set up our page. This is what we currently have in our app.js. We have just this simple hello world, but remember this installation we came with some components. We came with this router folder that had some pages, and also this navbar folder that's going to, you know, contain our navigation. Like I said, there's really no logic in all of these projects. It's simply just JSX and, you know, some CSS where necessary. So what I'm going to do is I'll come to my app.js, and I'll then start everything from the app.js. So here, first off, since we've installed React Router DOM, we need to import some things from React Router DOM. And so I'm going to come here and say import, and we're going to import browser router. So browser router. Then we're also going to import routes. Okay, routes. Then lastly, we're going to import route singular. And all of them is going to come from React Router DOM, like so. So these are the three items we need to import from React Router DOM. Now, from the home page here, we are going to now come to our return statement, and I'm going to delete everything that I have there for now. Now, so the first thing we want to do is we're going to create an opening and a closing tag for our browser router. So here I'll say browser router, like so, and then I'll tap that to create an opening and a closing tag. That's because the browser router is supposed to surround all of our routes. All right, great. So next, we're then going to create a route tag inside of this browser router. So here I'll say routes, I'll tap that. Okay, so I hope you're following. Now we're then going to create an individual route which will represent like the page we're going to. So for the first route, I'll create the home route. So here I'll say route, I'll tab. Okay, this time I'm not going to tab it, I'm going to create it like a component. So I'll close that like that. Now this route is going to have some properties. The first property is going to have is the path property. The path property simply refers to where you want how you want to name this route. So for example, for the home page, I'm going to name it a /. If I was going to create a route for maybe like my about page, then I'll name it /about. All right, so let's stick with the home page first. So I'm going to name it home. Then it's going to have another property, and that property is the elements property. So here I'll say elements, and it's going to be a dynamic, it's going to receive a dynamic value. So I'm going to open my curly braces. Now what's supposed to go into this element property? Essentially, it's where do you want, which page or which component do you want this path or this route to open into. So here I'm going to open this my folder here, and let's come inside our router. You'll see that we have this home components. So essentially, I'll come here and say that, look, I want to open the home component. How am I going to do that? I'll just call the component like this. So home, and then I'll do a / to close it. Now let me auto import the home component. I'll do control and spacebar to try and auto import it. And then you see it here, I'll auto import it. Now just to keep things a little bit organized, I'll add a comment here and say pages. Oh, so I want it to be pages, like so that you know that everything below this one is my import for my pages, right? Great. Now I'll go ahead and save, and of course nothing is going to happen now, but if I, or maybe I should actually create all the routes first. So I'll duplicate this 2 more times. Okay, so all right, so you see something is already happening on the page, but let me finish my code here. So the second one is going to be the about page or the about route, and here we're going to do the blog. So it's going to be plural blogs, because it's going to contain all of our blog posts. Now for this one, I want it to point to the about component. So about, and this one I want it to point to the blogs, blogs. So I'm going to open all of those components here. I'll come here and let me open the about, which is this one, and then I'll open the blogs, which is this one. Great. Let's close this up back, and let's come back here. Now if I go ahead and save this guy, watch what happens. So here, okay, let me see, about is not defined. Oh, okay, so I need to import this component as well. All right, so let me import the about component, control and spacebar, and I'll import that one, auto import, and then I'll import the blogs, control spacebar, and I'll import it as well. Great. Now if I go ahead and save, I've imported the 3 of them. So initially when you load your page, it's going to be in this /, which is like an empty route kind of. So it's going to be like localhost 3000. Now if I now come to my page here, so let me expand this guy. So if I, oh, come on, that error has been cleared out. All right, so if I now come to my header here and I do a / and I say about, right? Oh, sorry, / about, and I hit enter, watch what happens. So you see here, it takes us to the about page. Now let's try for the blogs page. So I'll say blogs, and I'll hit enter. And as you can see, it takes us to the blogs page. So you see, welcome to the blog page. Great. Now let's go back to the home page, because that's where we want to be. We want to be home. So I'll save, I'll enter that, and we're in the home page. Now it doesn't make sense that we are going to, have to come to the search bar to enter our route before we can change page. So in an ideal application, you're going to have like a header or like a nav bar that's going to contain some links, so the user can click on those links and navigate around the pages in your website. Okay, so we're also going to implement that, and we're going to do that in the next video. All right, so now we're going to set up our nav bar and link all the routes to the navigation bar. So what I'm going to do is, remember we created this component here. I think I'll just close all of these ones we're not using at the moment, and I'll just open up my navbar, which is, so this is a navbar folder, then navbar.js, and maybe navbar css. Great. All right, so remember we had this JSX for our navbar. So essentially it just contains these links, basically 8 tags inside of this nav tag: home, about, and blog. That's all. Maybe I should make these blogs plural. Great. Then we have the navbar css file, and essentially for that one we just have this single styles here for the links specifically. This one is going to come in later, all right, but for now this is what we're using. Great. So I think I can even close this one for now. So I'll come to my app.js, and within the app.js, remember we said that anything that concerns routing, it must be surrounded by this browser router. Okay, now I can now come down inside the browser router, but not within this route. So inside the browser router but outside of the routes plural, I will now introduce my navbar component. So here I'll say navbar like so. I'll hit enter to auto import it, and then I'll close it. If I go ahead and save, you see a very nice navbar here. Great. So you see here where we have this navbar, and of course we styled it from like the beginning. However, these links, they don't do anything, so we just have a simple a tag, and if you click on it, you see that voila, it doesn't do anything. So now how are we going to do it such that we're going to link these links to the routes we've created? So within this navbar component, I'm going to import, I'll say import, and then link from, and we're importing it from React router DOM like so. So I'll then come inside of this navbar, and instead of having this a tag, I'm going to change it to link. All right, and I'll do the same for this too. So I'll say link like so, and so that's the first part. Now the second part is this href here. We're also going to change it to, so let me delete that, and I'll change it to 2. Okay, so essentially I'm saying I want to link to, and whatever route I want to link to is where I will then insert that route here. So what that means is I would also delete all of these guys here. And so first off, I'll say /. Now it's important to state that whatever you put here must actually match the path. So this path here, so for example, this first route, home route, is going to /. The next one is going to /about. So it needs to match everything that is here. So for example, the first one, which is /, I'll just say /, and then the second one is going to go to /about, and then the last one will go to /blogs. And this is how you link these nav links to your route. If I go ahead and save this now, all right, so it has reloaded, or it has re-rendered. Now if I click on home, we're already on the home page, so nothing is going to change. Let me expand this a little bit. If I click on about, you see now that we now navigated to the about page, and then blogs has also taken us to the blog page. Interestingly, the navigation, the URL here also changes as we change the links here, as we click on the links here. So if I click on about, you see here that it has also changed to about. So essentially that's how we can link up this navigation section to our routes. All right, I'll see you in the next one. All right, so far we've been able to link all of our routes in our navigation bar, and when we click on each of these links, it takes us to the respective component or respective page, if you allow me to use that word. Now, what if for some reason there's a page that maybe we've deleted from our server, cannot be found or something like that. So if I just type something here, sorry, let me do that again, /, I'll just type something and then I'll hit enter. Watch what happens. So it doesn't show anything. Of course, it will always show the nav bar because the nav bar is outside of the route, but essentially right now it doesn't show anything. So this is a bad user experience. You need to be able to have like a 404 not found page when a user clicks on a link that no longer exists on your server or something like that. So let me close this guy. Let me show you how we can implement that. So I'll come to my app.js and I'm going to duplicate this last route. So I'll just duplicate that and then I'll change this path here to an asterisk like this. And then in the element, I'll now specify which component I want to, to load if there is a page that cannot be found. So this asterisk simply means all. So essentially it will just fall like it will be like a fallback page if the link that the person clicked on is not part of any of these routes we've declared at the top. So here I'm going to come here and declare and define the component I want to load, and I've already created a component. I'll call that component notFound. It's part of the components we created. So notFound like so, and then I'll auto import it like this. Okay, let me open the component first. So I'll click here and I'll open the notFound component. All right, now it's easy for me to auto import it. Okay, so I'll just do Control and spacebar, and then you see here I'll just click on auto import and we have it here. Now if I go ahead and save, you see here that immediately to open up the page not found, and then I just added the text here that looks like the page you are looking for could not be found, back to the home page. Now if we go to the not found page, you realize that we just have an a tag there, like a regular HTML link. That's not what we want. We want to be able to actually link back to the home page, and I'm sure you can probably do this by yourself because we did it in the last video. So what we're going to do is we're going to come here and we're going to import link, or let me just come here and add a link. So I'll change this my a to a link like so, and then I'll change the href to 2, and then I'll specify where I want to go to. So I want to go back to the home page, and that's the / route. All right, it's important for us to now import this link here. So I'll do Control and spacebar to import import link from React Router DOM, and then I'll go ahead and save. All right, now the page has re-rendered. If I go ahead and click on the home page, you see now that it will take us back to the home page. All right, so that's the kind of experience you want to have for your user. So this is just a short one on how we can create a not found or a 404 error page for our website. All right, so I'll see you in the next one. All right, so currently in our navbar we have no way of knowing which link is currently active. So although I'm in the home page, there's no difference between each of the links. If I go to the about page, there's absolutely no difference between each of the links. So we need to have a way to like identify which link is currently active, and we can do that in React, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to my navbar.js and I'm going to import another item here. I'll call that NavLink like this. Excuse me. All right, so NavLink, and I'm going to copy that. So instead of having these link tags, I'm going to have the NavLink tag. So you know what I'm going to do? Let me duplicate this first like this, and then I'll just comment out the one on top so that you can actually have both in the final project. But however, I'm going to change this here to NavLink. So here I'll just add a nav in front of it, and like so. Great. Now this NavLink in the first one here, so let me actually give some space to separate it. So in this first one here, we can have a class name. So I'll come here, I'll say class name. Let me just do class name like this, and this class name is not going to be static, it's going to be dynamic. We're going to add some dynamics here inside of this class name. Though what I'm interested in is, let me even spread this out very well so that, yeah. So what I'm interested in this class name is that there is a prop that this nav links actually makes accessible to us. So I'm going to do as if I want to open an arrow function. So I'll just do my parentheses, and then I'll open my arrow function. I'm not going to, do any return statements here. I'll just do a simple console.log. So console.log, and I'm going to console.log whatever it is I, write here. So here I want to write the state, state, and then I'm just going to console.log the state here. All right. So I was saying here that there is an active prop that comes when we use this NavLink. I want to actually demonstrate how that works. So I'm going to save this, and let me click on the home page, and then I'll inspect. I'll do Ctrl+Shift+I to inspect, and let me just expand my browser. Great. So you see here that I know what I'm actually going to refresh this page so that we have just one of them. Great. So I refresh the page, and because it loads on the home page, you see here that we have an object, and this object has just one property, is active, and that's set to true. That is because this home page is currently the page that is open. In other words, it's the current page that is active. I'm going to click on the about page now. Watch what happens. I have another console, and you see here is active is false. That's because we are no more on the home page, right? We are now in the about page. So of course the home page is no more active. So I just wanted to point out that we have this is active property that we can access when we use the NavLinks prop. All right, great. So I'm going to close that, and I'll come back here. However, what we are interested in is where we can destructure and get out that is active property inside here. So instead of saying state, I'm going to delete the state, and I'm going to destructure and get the is active property. Great. And then instead of having a simple console.log, let me just delete all of that. Right. So after my arrow here, I'm just going to open a new bracket, and then I'm going to add a ternary operator. That ternary operator, basically I'll say if is active is equal to true. And remember, we've already destructured and gotten out this is active property. So I'm saying if is active is equal to true, then I want the class name to be, so let's come here, and then I'll say active. All right, I'll add my else part, and then I'll say if is active is equal to false, then I want the class name to be just an empty. So I'll just leave it empty here like this. All right, so I hope you followed like step by step and you saw how we got here. First off, we destructure this is active prop, or is active property that comes with this NavLink, and now we're adding a ternary operator that says that look, if is active is true, then we want this class of active to be on the NavLink. All right, great. Now I'll go ahead and before I see, have I saved this? Oh, I think I've saved it, because you now see here that I've saved it. So but anyway, let me just go ahead and save it, and you see here now that on the about us page we now have this underline. I wanted to take out time to show you the active class, so let me go to my navbar.css. oh sorry yeah navbar.css, which is here. So in the navbar.css I created this .active class, which is what is actually adding this underline to the page. Essentially just has a position of relative, and then I created a pseudo element that now add this underline. So you see here position absolute, left bottom, and then I gave it a width of 100%, a height of 1 pixel, which you see here, and a background color of white. That's basically what you're seeing here. All right, so let me close that. Now let me come here now and click on the home page, and as you can see in the home page, on the home page we have that active class, and it's on the about page, it's on the blog page. Now you may want to now say, but we don't have this logic on all the NavLink menu. Well, I actually said the same thing too, but just placing it on the first one somehow confers the functionality to the other NavLinks and helps us identify if they are active or not. Okay, but if for some reason in your application it doesn't work on your other links or stuff like that in your navigation, then feel free to just grab this logic, this class name logic, and transfer it to the other components, to the other nav links, and everybody will be fine. All right, so essentially that's how we can add an active class to our navigation menu. All right, thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one. All right, now let's see how we can redirect a user when to a particular page when they enter maybe a certain link. So what I'm going to do is let me come to, in fact I'm going to close all this stuff I'm not using, and I'll come to my home page, And so let me assume that the user, for example, clicks on a link that ends with view. All right, so I'm going to duplicate this route here. Let me just give some space so that everything is clear. So this is the route I want to work with. So let's say the user enters a link that ends with view. Okay, and I don't want, maybe this link, for example, I've changed it and I want to redirect them to something else. Okay, so basically what I need to do is I'm going to come here inside of this element, and I'm going to use the navigate. So here I will say navigate, and let me close that. And you need to import it from React Router DOM. So I'll do Control and space bar to import that. And if you come here, you see that it has been imported from React Router DOM. So here I will say that, look, if the user goes to the name of my website /view, then I want to navigate them to somewhere else. In other words, I want to direct them to another page. So how am I going to specify the page? Well, I'll use the to property. So I'll say to, and let me open my quotes, and here I will then decide where I want to direct them to. So in this very simple example, I want to direct them to, let's just say, the blog page, for example. All right, so I'll come here and say /blogs. So what this will do is that if any user goes to this view, it will push them, or it will navigate them, or direct them, or redirect them to the blogs. All right, so now if I go ahead and save this, and let's actually test it out. So I'll come here, let me open this up, and in my header here, I'll change my URL. I'll say /view, and I'll hit enter, and watch what happens. So you see, it redirects me to blog. So that works really nicely. Now we can also conditionally like render a different route, or render a route based on a particular condition. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to import use state from React. So let me come here and see. I think I have import use state. I have a snippet for that. Okay, great. So I'm going to import use state from React, and I'm going to create a state here. I'll call that state. So let me say use state, and I'm just going to call that state is logged in, like so. And now I'll change this one to capital letter. So, and then I'll set it initially to false. All right, great. Now I can come here inside of my navigate routes here, and I can conditionally render a page. So instead of just saying I want to navigate somewhere, like I'm actually going to delete all of this. So let me grab all of that, like so. Control X. I'll cut that out. I'll come here and I'll add a ternary operator. So I'll say if is logged in is equal to true, then I want to go somewhere. So where do I want to go if it's logged in is equal to true? Well, I want to navigate to the blogs, right? If it's not equal to true or else, I want to go to maybe somewhere else. But in this case, I'm just going to output like JSX. So I'm going to output heading 4. I'm assuming that I require this user to be logged in. So let me do that properly. So H4 and close that. And then I'm just going to say, please log in. Great. So essentially, this is a scenario where you want to maybe like protect a page. You want only logged in users to be able to access a page, right? So look what we have here. So now we have here, we set is logged into false. So what do you think is going to happen if I save this page and go to view? So if I save this page and go to view, then the user is not logged in, then it will just display this H4, please log in. So let's save that and let's try it out. So I'll come here and I would open this up, and I'll go to view. I'll change this link here to view, and then I'll hit enter, and let's see what happens. Great. So you see here at this edge here, we have please log in. That's because it's logged in is set to false. Now let's come here and change this login back to true. So I'll say true, and I'll save that. Okay. and voila, suddenly we can see the blog. So if you know what's happening here, essentially it's logged in, it's true, therefore we navigated to the blog section. So if let me open this up and let's just try it again just to be sure that everything works correctly. So I'll say view and I'll hit enter, and as you can see, it has redirected us to the blog section based on this is logged in state. All right, so that's basically how we can redirect the user to any page we want based on any condition we actually want. Thank you so much for watching this one. I'll see you in the next one. All right, welcome back, guys. Now let's talk about nested routes. So essentially all our routes basically have been on this our app page, right? But if you go to like another page, so maybe I'll just go to my about page here, which is this guy here. I can also place a route inside of my about page. When I do that, that is called nested routes. So what I'm going to do is I'll come here and I would first off we need to import route. So I'll come here and then I'll say import, that needs to be small letter. So I'll say import routes. So let's open our curly braces, routes plural, then route singular, and we're going to import it from, and you know where, React router DOM. Okay, great. Now I can easily just come down below this guy here and I would first off call my routes, tap that, and then inside the route I will now call my route singular, and I'm not going to tab this one because no need for that, so I'll just close that. Now you may actually wonder why I'm wrapping this route singular inside of this route plural. That's because if you don't wrap it with this route that ends with S, you're going to get an error. So every time you declare your route, it must be wrapped around these routes. Okay, that's a rule in React Router DOM. All right, so that's out of the way. Now where do I want to set the path? So I'm going to set the path to, I'll just say info, and then I'll set the element. So what do I want to display on the page? So I'll set the element and I'm going to display this component here. Let me look for the component, and that's the info component. So if I open that, you see here that we just have additional info. Here is some additional info, and then let me come back to my about. So I want to display the info component. So here I'll just say info like that, and then I'll close that. All right, now look, remember very carefully what we are doing. We're in the about route or the about page. Let's just say about page, and then we've created another route inside. We said that's nested route. Now let me save this guy and let's come here. Oh, okay, so something is wrong. Info is not defined. Okay, I need to import this info component. So I'll auto import that, and then I'll save, and that should get rid of our error. All right, so now let me click on the about component and see what happens. So I'll click on the about component, and what's going on here, we are just seeing the about page. We're not seeing anything that has to do with this info component, right? However, if you come to the top here, oh, okay, so that's not even all we need to do. There's one more thing we need to do, but let's just come to the top first. So I'll come to the top and I would add a / and info, and then I'll hit enter. Let's see what happens. Okay, so it's giving us an error. It says, look, page was not found. So let's go back to the home page because we didn't find that page. Now we have this route inside here. Why is it not being found? All right, so we need to now go back to our app.js and look for that about route. So where is it? This one right here. And in this path, we're then going to specify that, look, there can be additional extension to this route. In other words, this route can have something added to it, so like a / or something else. So but how am I going to specify that, oh, okay, we can add something to this route? So I'll add a / and then I'll add my asterisk. So whatever it is we like, whatever nested route we put inside this page, this is going to just tack it onto our URL, and then to locate it. So now let me go ahead and save, and then now let's come here. I'll click on the about, and of course you're still going to see just the about component, which is what we have here. Welcome to the about page. However, if you now come to the URL here and say /about /info, and then you hit, oh sorry, I need to do that again. So /info, and then you hit enter, Then suddenly you now see the about page, but also at the bottom here now you now see the additional info component. So there are times when you may want to, maybe you're sending like a newsletter, or maybe like you're redirecting new users to a particular page, and you want to add a specific information or a specific data to that page that pertains to that new user, such that other people that come to that page from maybe your website link like this will not have access to that additional info. This is a great way for you to do that using nested route. So ideally, if I wanted to send a newsletter and I wanted this additional info to be in that newsletter, I would just use this link and send this link like this to my users, and when they click on the link, they would see the additional info I want only the new users to see. So that's how that's how nested route work in React Router. All right, thank you so much for this one. I will see you in the next one. All right, so now we're going to talk about use params hook. And first off, we need to create a setting where we can you actually implement it. So I'll come to my blog, and let me actually go to my blog component. So this is it, blogs plural, and you see here we just have welcome to the blogs page. So what I want to do in this component is I'm going to come below my second div, and I'm going to create an article just to make it different. Let's tap that, and within this article page, okay, there's something I should have actually said before starting. So inside of my router folder, I have this data.js, and in the data.js I have, I think I can close this for now, I have this variable blog, sorry, which is an array of objects. So in the objects we have id, title, author, and details, and then we have 3 of them, and the IDs, they are all unique, so 1 2 3. Great. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to my blogs, and I'm going to import the sorry, this needs to be in a new line. So I'll import my blogs, curly braces, blogs, and I'm going to import that from where it's located. So that's going to be ./blog, sorry, data, like so. And here I'll come inside this article, and I'm going to have my curly braces, and then I'll then say blogs.map, and I'm just going to map through all of that. So I would represent every individual element inside as a blog, and then I would do like this and open that up. So first off, I'll just destructure to get all the properties from this blog. So I'll say const, and we are going to get out the ID and the title, and there needs to be a comma here to separate it, so comma, and then I'm going to get out the author. All right, so these are the 3 properties I need here, and then I'll set that to be equal to blog. All right, so I'll come down and then do a quick return. I'm doing this very fast because we've done this 1001 times. In fact, I almost wanted to just paste in the code, but I said, okay, let me just do it again. So now I'll now return some JSX, and essentially that JSX, I'm just going to have a div. So let me do div, let me tab that, and inside of that div we're going to have the title, so h4, and that's going to contain our title. So I would open my curly braces, and then I'll reference the title, and then I'm also going to have the author, so that's just going to be a paragraph. So I'll say by, and then I'll then open my curly braces, and then I'll say author, like so. Great. Of course, I'll need to add some styles to this div, so let me just do class name here, and I'll give it the card class, and then I would also do some margin around it and some padding as well. All right, so that's about it. And okay, lastly, let me add a link. The link will just say read more. So here I will then say link, and I'll tap that, and it will say read more. And of course, the link needs a to prop, so to, and for now I'll just add a /, and then I'll save. Now watch what happens on our blog page. Oh, okay, so I need to import link from React Router DOM, so I'll auto import that like that, and then if I save, we're going to have all our blogs displayed. Yeah, so you can see here we have our blogs displayed. Let me refresh this page to get rid of the error. So this is first blog, you see here by John Doe, and then read more, second blog, third blog. Great. Now if we want to now access the content of this blog, which is these details here, blog details, how do we do that? Like, how can we access the content of this blog? We're obviously not going to create like 3 different pages for blog 1, blog 2, blog 3. So ideally what we want to do is we want to create a single page that can display any number of blogs. Okay, so if we have 1000 blogs, they can be displayed on a single page. So what we're going to do is we're going to do that using use params. All right, so let me show you how that works. So I'll come to my app.js, and by the way, we already have that blog page. So this is blog details, and we're going to display our blog content in the blog details page. So I'm going to create a route for the blog details. So I'll come here and I will just duplicate this guy, and then I'll change it to blog, so singular. So whenever the user goes to blog, then I want to take them to the blog details page, like so. Let me auto import that. Oh, okay, I need to open it to auto import it. So let me blog details, and then I'll just auto import it here. And yeah, voila, so we have it imported in our page here. Great. However, we're going to need to tack on, because we want to get a parameter from this blog. So we don't just want to display it as blog. So the way we're going to do it is we're going to come here and add a colon. Okay, sorry, we're going to add a forward slash first, then we'll now say colon and whatever it is we want the parameter to be. So here I'm just going to represent it with an ID. All right, so that's what I'm going to do. So essentially I'm saying that, look, I want to open this blog page forward slash something that will be dynamic. All right, because this ID or whatever comes after this colon is going to be dynamic. All right, great. I'll go ahead and save, and now I will come to my blog details. All right, so here we are linking to initially we set it to the blogs page, rather initially we set it to forward slash. That's not what we want to do, right? What we want to do is, so I'm going to make this value here dynamic. So I'll open curly braces instead, and then I'll open backticks, right? So first off, I want to go to forward slash blog, then forward slash. Now whatever it is you put here needs to match what you specified here, right, as your parameter. So I'll come here, and because I want this parameter to be dynamic, I want it to come from these guys here. What I'm going to do is I'll use string interpolation. So I'll do dollar and curly braces, and then I'll then reference this ID here. So I'll say this ID. Remember, this ID is coming from this guy here. Okay, great. Now we can go ahead and save this file, right? And now I'll come to my blog details. Now inside of this, my blog details, essentially we just said blog details. I'm now going to come here and I'm going to import use params from React Router DOM. So I'll come here, I'll say import, let me open my curly braces, and I'll say use params, like so, from React Router DOM. All right, so it's imported. I'll come inside the return statement, inside the function here, and let's just do const, and I'm going to destructure this value here. I'll say ID, because I want to get out the ID, because the ID is what I'm actually sending to this page, and I'll set it to be equal to use params, and let's open up parentheses and close. Great. Now let's go ahead and come inside of this what's it called, header here, this h1 here. I'll come here and let me give a space here, and I'll add my curly braces here and push in my ID. Now let me go ahead and save, and if everything is wired up correctly, as I suspect it should be, let me click on read more here. Let's see what happens. So I'll click on read more, and as you can see here, we're able to get the ID which is coming from this use params, and we're able to place it on the page. Let's go back for a minute and let's click on the second one, and you see here we're able to get the ID of 2. So I think I want to expand this page a little bit. Great. And I'll go back to the third one, and of course I'm sure you know I'll get the ID of 3. Also, if you look at the URL, you see here now we now have /blogs/3, which is the ID, which is what we set in our route from this app. So you see /blog/:ID. Great. So everything is wired up. So far up to this point, everything is wired up correctly. Now, how can we then access the blog details and display it on this page? All right. So I'm in the blog details page right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually create 3 pieces of state that will hold the title, the author, and the details. So here I will come and say import. So let me import state. So here I'll say import use state, and I'm also going to use effect. So I'll just import it once and for all. I'll say import use state and use effect from React. All right. Now, because this lecture is actually getting long, it's already 10 minutes. I'm going to break this video into 2 at this point, and in the second one, I'm going to now show you how we can access all the details and display it on this page. All right. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one. All right, so we've imported use state and use effects from React. Now I just want to quickly create 3 pieces of state that will, I'll use to store the title, details, and author. So here I'll say use in fact, I'm just going to copy and paste them in because I think I've already created them and you already know how to create a state, so there's no point actually writing them out. So these are the 3 pieces of state: title, details, and author that we've created. Great. Now I'll come down here and let me come below my use params, and I'm going to write my use effects right here. So I'll say use effect, and let's open that up, and I'll do like this and access it with my arrow function. Now basically, before I actually use this use effect, there's one thing I want to point out to you. I want to show you the data type of this ID. If you come to our data.js, let me open this up. So this is our data.js file. You see here that the ID is a number. All right, you see it doesn't have quotes around it, unlike this other string that have quotes around them. So this is a data type of number. However, if you do a console.log of this use params ID, so let me come here and do a console.log of my ID, and let me comment out this use effect, and then let me save that. I'm going to inspect my page. I just want to show you something before we proceed. Okay, so not just the console.log, I want to do the console.log of the type of. So I want to know the data type. So I'll come here in front of it, I'll say type of ID, and then I'll save, and let's watch what happens here. So you see this ID here is actually a string. All right, whereas the ID that is coming from this data is a number. Anyway, no problem. We're going to factor that in when we finally display the details of the blog on the page. All right, so let's get that out of the way. So I'll come here, I'll activate my use effect, and basically from this ID here, I want to be able to get out that piece of content from my data, right? So first off, let's import data. So I'll come here and say import data from. Let's import it from and ./data. Great. I'll come inside my use effect and I'll create a variable. I'll say const, and I'll say this post or this blog, whatever. So this blog, and then I'll set it to be equal to data. Sorry, not data. This should not be data. This should be blogs. Sorry about that. So blogs. So I'll come down here and I'll say blogs dot, and I want to find a particular blog. So I'll say blogs dot find, and let's open that up, and I'll say I'll represent each item as blog. And what am I looking for? Well, I'm looking for the blog dot ID that matches this. So that needs to be 3 equals that matches this ID coming from our use params. Okay, so but remember, this ID is a string, whereas this ID is a number. So if you use it if you just say ID here, it's not going to work, right? It's not going to work. So what you need to do is you need to convert it to a number or an integer. How do we do that? So I'll say pass int, like so, and then I'll open my parenthesis and put in my ID. So it will convert this guy to a number, then it will be a match. All right. So now I'll then come down here and set and of course, you know that if we get the particular blog, we can get all the properties. So here I'll come here and say set title. So let's get the title, and I'll set it to this blog, right? I'll say this blog dot title, and then let's duplicate it, and I'll just change this to set this is going to be author, and of course this will be this blog dot author, and lastly we're going to do set details. So this will be details as well, and of course this blog dot details. So essentially the content of our blog has been saved inside of these pieces of state. All we now need to do is to display it on our page. All right, so I'll come down here to the blog details page, right? And it doesn't make sense to have this ID here anymore, so let me just delete it. So instead of having this blog details here, I'll change it to my title. So let's do that. Open that up and say title. Okay, and then I'll come down just below this guy. I'll add a horizontal line, HR, and let me see. Okay, I'll add a horizontal line like so. Let's tab that, and we're going to have the author first. So I'll do tab, and I'll have a B bold tag. Sorry, that should be B, and then inside the bold I'll say author, and then I'll then reference my author state. So here I'll say author, and lastly I'll come down and I'll just have, let me separate it with a line break. Then I'll have another paragraph. Let's see. Yeah, another paragraph that will now have our details. So let's open that up and say details, and let's go ahead and save. And all things being equal, we should be able to display that blog here. So you see, third blog post, author is John Sam, and this is the content. So let's go back and do the first one, and first blog post, everything works. Let's do the second one, read more, second blog post, everything works. However, on this page we want to be able to link back, have a link somewhere down here that will take us back to the blog page. Good user experience. We don't want the user to be coming here to click on this guy. So just below my details, I'm going to have let me have a div. So I'll just say div, and the reason why I'm putting it inside the div is so that I can add some styles on the div. So let's have a class name here that will just be some margin. So dash dash margin on the top and bottom of 2rem. Okay, and in here I'll then add my link. So link, and I'll tab that, and here I'll just say back to blog. Okay, so I'll put it like this, and then I'll add my my backticks here. I'll then use this symbol, and then I'll say back to blogs plural. So but this link, I've not said where I want to link it to. So where do I want to link it to? So I'll say to and /blogs. So essentially I've added a link on the blog that will take me back to the blogs page. So let's go ahead and save that. Oh, I need to import this from React, so I forgot that. Let me import it from React router DOM, and then I'll save, and that should get rid of the error. Great. So I'll go back to my blogs, refresh the page to clear the error completely, and I'll go back to my blogs, and let's go to the first blog, and you see here we now have back to blog. If I click on this link, it takes me back to the blogs page, and it's there for all of the links. So third post, and like that. So essentially that's how we can use the use params inside of our React router setup. All right, thank you so much. I hope that throughout these basics React router videos that you've actually learned a lot and you've seen how things work. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next section. Alright my friends, we've come to the end of this video, and if you did enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like on the video and comment on the video. It helps the channel, it helps me reach more people with the video. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification by clicking on the bell icon so that you're going to get informed when I publish new videos. Also remember that I have a discount for you, special discount for you for my premium React.js course, which is just going for $10 at this moment. Anytime from now, it's going to be increased to the regular price. All right, so let's see what the course is. See you in another video.